Today on Investigate TV Plus, banned products that could endanger your family are still for sale on major websites. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. We have an in-depth look at how the federal government is trying to stop dangerous items from ever making it into your home. We
tell the platform that they take it down, but that game of whack-a-mole has to stop.
And hear from a father who fought back after his daughter died.
If the product is illegal in the U.S., you shouldn't be able to buy it.
Plus, a danger in dust found in hot, dry environments.
I didn't do anything wrong. I breathed air, and that got me really sick.
How the correct diagnosis can change a life, and why some scientists believe the threat could spread.
More and more people are at risk.
And rehabilitation over punishment. A mother shares how a change in culture gave her a second chance.
That was the first time that anybody in jail has ever cared.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Recalled and banned products are showing up all over the internet despite specific laws put in place because people have been seriously hurt or killed.
A big part of the problem is imports and third-party sellers. Here's an in-depth look at how the government is trying to catch these products before they reach your family.
Thank you.
This is a rare look inside the federal operation that's meant to keep consumers safe. In Newark, New Jersey, federal agents check boxes coming into the country through the nearby port, looking for things that are banned here, like items that are flammable or have excessive lead. They check cribs and hair bows and look through boxes, sometimes running them through a chemical scanner. To understand why we're bringing you here, meet Scott Taylor.
So as long as anybody is going to ask me and want to talk about it and will listen, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about her. It makes me sad sometimes, but it also brings her very much back to right here.
Taylor has spoken about his daughter Abby many times, but his passion for her life and how it may save the daughters and sons of others continues.
She was always the reason I wear pink and the reason I dress the way that I do often with a lot of color is because of her.
In June 2007, 6-year-old Abby played in a country club's kiddie pool filled with just 18 inches of water.
At some point, she got near the pool drain, sat on it, and her buttocks created a seal around the pool sump, the bowl, if you will, and she was eviscerated, and meaning that she lost her small intestine.
The drain essentially suctioned her to the bottom of the pool. That drain, concealed with a cover that her family says they later found had been broken earlier and wasn't installed correctly. For 9 months, Abby was in and out of the hospital. Multiple surgeries and transplants didn't take. On March 20th, 2008, Abby Taylor passed away. The type of pool drain cover that Abby was suctioned to is now banned due to a law passed the year she died, named after another little girl who also died in a similar incident, Virginia Graham Baker, whose initials are now stamped on legal drain covers sold in the U.S.
The goal was to get them completely off the market, which we did from a retail standpoint. However, as I understand, they're available on the internet somewhere, coming in from other places.
In fact, we found these matches for banned pool drain covers appearing online, being sold through third-party sellers on big box retail sites in major online marketplaces. Here's another. In March, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, or CPSC, warned a Chinese company that its pool drain cover violated the law and requested a recall, which went up a month later. The Amazon retailer put a note about the recall on its site, but months later we were able to buy one that appears in photos to be identical to the one the CPSC flagged and recalled.
What we're seeing is that on the platforms that you're buying things, you think you're buying it from somebody else, but really it's a fly-by-night seller coming in from overseas.
This is where we come back to the federal facility in Newark.
We have a tremendous amount of trade in this country, tremendous amount of product coming into it. So do we catch everything? Not enough, because we don't have the resources to really get out there and cover everything as much as we'd like to.
Our team found over a dozen products that appeared to match those the CPSC found to be in violation of safety laws, from bike helmets to outdoor equipment that are still available to buy through major online retailers.
How do you police that?
We've seen things online by a seller that we know have killed a child before. We have flagged it for the platform, and then a week later we see the same listing under a slightly different name on the platform. And again, we tell the platform that they take it down, but that game of whack-a-mole has to stop, and the platforms are really in the best place to be able to do that.
In July, Amazon announced a new program. It will now alert consumers when products they buy on Amazon have recalls or warnings.
If the product is illegal in the U.S., you shouldn't be able to buy it, whether it's coming from China or anywhere else. You shouldn't be able to buy it in the U.S.
Abby's family tells us they sued the golf club where this happened and the parent company of the manufacturer. They settled out of court with the drain maker, which said it thought her death was caused by the maintenance issue, but still paid. That money helped fund and start Abby's Hope, her family's organization for safe swimming. They also settled with the golf club.
You can be your own investigator when it comes to checking recalled products. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has several websites designed to help you find the most up-to-date information. CPSC.gov/recalls lists all the recalls by the federal agency, while SaferProducts.gov lets you report an item or search reviews by other consumers. For more on our extensive series on recalled products, go to InvestigateTV.com and search defective.
Still to come, torn from the pages of a fairy tale, but built on the trash from the modern world.
Trash is the gold mine of the future, and we have to understand that, because otherwise we will be drowning in our own trash.
But first, a disease carried in dust could have costly consequences.
If you don't diagnose valley fever, all sorts of health care is done, which is unnecessary.
Why health experts say valley fever is often misdiagnosed, plus the new efforts to train doctors.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
There's a disease that travels in dusty, dry conditions. The CDC reports the most common way to get it is by breathing in a fungus found in desert-like soils.
It's called valley fever, and it's mainly been a concern in Arizona and California, but research predicts affected areas will more than double by the end of the century.
We have an in-depth look at who's at risk and how doctors are training to spot the disease.
I got sick from dust. Essentially, what is dust?
Jeff Weinbrenner moved to Arizona in 2012 as a young, healthy teacher. But shortly after, he fell seriously ill. He couldn't walk, had IVs around the clock, and even lost his hearing.
I didn't do anything wrong. I breathed air, and that got me really sick.
Weinbrenner credits a doctor's diagnosis with saving his life.
Luckily, I had a very experienced doctor who tested me for valley fever, and it was.
Valley fever is a disease caused by a fungus that's mostly found in hot, dry environments like the American Southwest. It can get carried around in dust. Many who do get sick don't need medication. The California Health Department reports 60% of those infected with valley fever never even know they have it. But for a rare few, like Weinbrenner, it can be devastating. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about 20,000 cases are reported each year, and about 97% come from California and Arizona. But a 2019 study in the journal GeoHealth projects valley fever could spread east through the Great Plains and north to the Canadian border in less than 75 years.
What's concerning is, as the climate is getting hotter in certain areas, that fungus is potentially spreading further out, and so more and more people are at risk.
Dr. Sarah Parker with Carius, a company that tests for infectious diseases, believes awareness and training are critical.
The concern is that we'll catch them too late, and you can die from this disease if it's caught too late.
The CDC estimates valley fever cases are likely in the tens of thousands. The disease has long been misdiagnosed and is often mistaken for pneumonia in Arizona.
When somebody comes to urgent care with a respiratory condition that looks like pneumonia, that you think that valley fever should be tested for, because in fact our data shows that it's 1 chance out of 5 that pneumonia is actually caused by this fungus.
It's one of the reasons the Valley Fever Center for Excellence developed an educational program for doctors.
If you don't diagnose valley fever, all sorts of health care is done which is unnecessary.
The program outlines what doctors should consider when diagnosing a patient. This includes ordering the right test and checking for risk factors. A study from Arizona-based Banner Health showed the overall number of tests that were ordered for valley fever increased significantly after clinics implemented the program.
With training, we were able to improve the frequency that the clinicians at urgent care have been improving looking for valley fever when they should be doing that.
Banner Health also finds training helps reduce treatment cost.
I met a young man who had most of his spine dissolved by the valley fever. He was being held together by pins and needles.
Arizona Representative David Schweikert co-founded the Congressional Valley Fever Task Force, which aims to bring national attention to the disease.
The number of people who come through Tucson or the Valley or even the California desert and may find themselves sitting someplace in New York and there's this funny scar on their lung. How many of the doctors there have ever even heard of valley fever?
In 2022, the congressman helped secure $4.5 million in federal funding for valley fever treatments and vaccines.
It affects almost the entire nation if they have a nexus to us here in the desert Southwest.
While stabilized now, for years, Weinbrenner said his fight against valley fever has made steady work impossible.
That's going to be my mission in life, is to be a good stay-at-home dad until we can get this cured and I can get back in there and start swinging again.
A lifelong fight, Weinbrenner says, cost him an estimated $1 million.
Being your own advocate is huge, because if you don't go in and get the tests, nobody's going to know.
Valley fever is not contagious, but it can lay dormant in your body. The center also stressed the importance of getting tested if you have symptoms, as valley fever can be similar to the flu or COVID-19.
And if you look at the symptoms, cough, chest pain, fever, dyspnea, headaches, joint pain, all of these are the same symptoms that you have or anybody says they have in COVID.
In fact, the center had patients who got multiple negative tests for COVID before finally getting a valley fever test that was positive.
It's not just your health to think about, but your four-legged friend. It's estimated 25% of dogs who get valley fever will become seriously ill, requiring surgery or lifelong treatment. The University of Arizona is working with an animal health company and has developed a valley fever vaccine they say is highly effective and safe in dogs. A study found any symptoms that were seen in dogs who received the vaccine were considered clinically irrelevant because it was so mild. Once the vaccine becomes available, it would be the first time the U.S. has approved a vaccine to protect against a fungal infection in any species.
Wooden trolls hidden around the world. Coming up, hear from the artist who's using his work to inspire people to reduce waste.
I love the thrill of finding something in a dumpster and giving it new life.
And next, an overdose behind the wheel became a wake-up call.
None of them will hit like this.
How an alternative approach to incarceration gave a mother a new beginning.
Now that I'm back in her life, I'm gonna do my best to give her childhood back.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.
At any one time, nearly 7 million people in the U.S. are on probation, in jail, prison, or on parole, according to the U.S. Health and Human Services Department.
More than 2/3 of prisoners are arrested again within 3 years of their release, and half are reincarcerated. A center in Nashville is looking to change the culture of incarceration, and data shows their new approach has kept people from returning to jail.
Reporter Tracy Cornett sat down with a mother who says it gave her a second chance.
The smile you see in Grace Emerson's personal pictures don't tell her whole story.
I was actively addicted to heroin and, well, opiates of any kind.
Now 30 years old, she's been arrested multiple times, the last in 2020 when she overdosed with her children in her car. Emerson ended up facing multiple charges and was booked in the Davidson County Jail.
None of them will hit like this, though.
Why did this one hit differently?
Because of my kids were involved.
Their smiling faces are part of what she says motivated real change. That and the opportunity to participate in the Behavioral Care Center program at the jail.
That was the first time that anybody in jail has ever cared about me.
After having a mental health evaluation and meeting other criteria, Emerson was accepted.
I told them, look, I'm bipolar, I have anxiety, depression, PTSD, and ADHD, and all these other things. I wasn't on anything. I wasn't seeing a doctor.
34% of the people today booked will be, diagnosed mentally ill upon arrival.
That's Sheriff Darren Hall, the brainchild of the BCC. We got a tour of the whole facility.
We're trying to change the culture of what incarceration looks like.
Here, inmates battling addiction and mental illness are taught structure, skills, and given life-changing therapy. Officers wear scrubs instead of uniforms.
The police arrest the person, we try to arrest the problem. And the problem is a deep, complicated, difficult thing to solve.
Before building this side-by-side system in 2020, Hall and his team spent 7 years studying who was coming to jail and why.
There's no mental health system in our country. In every city in this country, the largest mental health hospital is the jail. No one, nowhere does it that way.
So far, the recidivism rate, those who are rearrested and returned to jail, show Hall's approach is working. Nationally, 70% of inmates return to jail. In Tennessee, it's 45%. But of those incarcerated at the Behavioral Care Center, just 24% return to jail.
I will always be an addict. I will never be able to successfully drink a glass of wine.
Grace Emerson is determined to never come back and to regain the trust of her family, in particular, her oldest daughter.
When I was in active addiction, I wasn't a good mom. She had to be the mom. And so now that I'm back in her life, I'm going to do my best to give her her childhood back.
Director Eric Bowder says agencies from around the country, including in Columbus, Ohio and Evansville, Indiana, have come to Tennessee to replicate what they're doing at the Behavioral Care Center. In Nashville, I'm Tracy Cornett.
Up next, the tale of how this troll came to be.
The troll is sniffing out for somebody's cooking up buns.
And meet the Danish artist inspiring eco-friendly adventure.
Next time that they empty their trash can to think about, is there treasure in here?
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download.
It might sound like the beginning of a fairy tale, but there are giant wooden trolls linking cities around the world.
With the help of volunteers, Danish artist Thomas Dambo has spent years making these sculptures out of recycled materials. He hopes his art not only inspires people to take an adventure outdoors, but makes them realize trash can be turned into something beautiful.
Reporter Io Elise shows us how they brought a troll to life in Portland, Oregon.
I love the thrill of finding something in a dumpster and giving it new life.
Danish artist Thomas Dambo has always believed that since he was a child, and that love reflects in his work.
Basically, my mission as an artist is to save the world from drowning in trash by showing people that you can make big and beautiful, valuable things out of our trash.
So for the last 9 years, Dambo and his team, along with volunteers, have been building trolls from recycled materials in cities around the world. That now includes Portland. Mark Jaso is one of the volunteers working on the troll.
I'm not necessarily artistically inclined, and the idea that I could be a part of a creative process really appealed to me.
It's all part of a project called Trail of 1,000 Trolls. Dambo is working to create 1,000 of the magical creatures. The troll that is now in Southwest Portland at Nordic Northwest is the 121st. His name is Ole Bolle. Each troll has its own story, and Ole Bolle's tale is based on a popular Danish children's song.
In the fairy tale, the troll is sniffing out for somebody's cooking up buns, and that's why it's opening up the house to see if it could maybe have some of the buns.
It sort of evolves. It doesn't look like a troll for the first week.
Peter Hjalmar Loop is with Nordic Northwest, a Nordic cultural organization that commissioned the 19-foot sculpture. He says Ole Bolle is made from recycled materials sourced in Portland.
We're trying to be very environmentally sensitive, and I think that really resonates with an Oregonian. We're all outdoors, and that's very Nordic in the value system that they have as well.
And Dambo hopes that the trolls will spread a little magic and a little thoughtfulness.
And then remember that next time that they empty their trash can to think about, is there a treasure in here that I should give to somebody instead of making it a problem for the future generations.
So that story reminds me of my grandmother, who was an artist, and she would literally dumpster dive too for wood and all kinds of stuff to put things together.
Yeah, she had the right idea.
She did. My nanny, she was good. She was ahead of her time.
She was.
Yes. All right, that's it for us here on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching. On the next Investigate TV Plus.
It felt like it was taking everything in me to go to work.
More nurses are ready to leave their jobs because of burnout. We take an in-depth look at the efforts to prevent a healthcare crisis.